Hello children, here you can see a picture. What is written on that? Life cycle of a frog. We have already learned the life cycle of a butterfly. The same way here the life cycle of a frog is also there. The first one is that egg mass. That means there are a lot of eggs. Then from that tadpole comes out as a young baby. Then tadpole grow up with a leg, and then there is the young frog, and after when that frog turns into a young frog, it has a tail. But when it's turned into, that means when it grow up and become an adult frog, it lost its tail, and it looks completely different than the tadpole. यानी वो complete अलग दिखता है tadpole से. Okay, so baby frog is called as a tadpole, and when it grow up, it's called as a frog. So let's see the poem that based on it. Hello children, today we are going to learn a poem, that is poem number 18, Growing Up. Okay, these two poems tells us about the changes that take place in the life of a frog and the butterfly. Here you can see the pictures. These pictures will help you to understand that what's there in the poem. It's a frog mummy, and this is a baby frog. Then baby frog grew up. Okay, this is the caterpillar. Then caterpillar change into chrysalis, and then it turns as a adult butterfly. We have already learned in the third standard about this. So now let's go through this poem. Let's learn more about it. This is what? This is a mother frog, and this is a tadpole. Tadpole, that means a baby frog. Okay. Poem number 18. Name of the poem is Growing Up. Mr. Tom's frog. Here the name is given to the frog, that is Mr. Tom's. Little Tommy Tadpole began to weep and wail, for little Tommy Tadpole had lost his little tail, and his mother didn't know him as he wept upon a log, for he wasn't Tommy Tadpole but Mr. Tom's frog. So little Tommy Tadpole, that means tadpole means a baby frog, began to weep and wail, that means started crying loudly. Now why it was started crying loudly, do you know? For little Tommy Tadpole had lost his little tail. For little Tommy Tadpole had lost his little tail. So this tadpole has a little tail, and he lost his tail, and because of that he began to weep and wail. Weep and wail means cry loudly. And his mother didn't know him as he wept upon a log. So when he lost his little tail, his mother also didn't recognize him. यानी उसकी मम्मी ने भी उसे नहीं पहचाना. So he sat on the log of wood and wept. That means started crying. Now wept is the past tense of a weep. For he wasn't Tommy Tadpole but Mr. Tom's frog. Now what happened? He lost his tail, he grew up, and when he grew up, यानी जब भी वो बड़ा हो गया, so he lost his tail, and he became Mr. Thomas Frog, and his mother didn't recognize him, and that's why he was crying. Okay, so this tadpole has grew up, and after growing up, he became a frog, and his mother did not recognize him. So when it was a frog, it was a baby, that time it was a tadpole, and when it grew up it becomes a frog. Children, do you remember this? We have learned the first term in our EVS, that the first stage it's an egg, then it becomes a caterpillar, then it changes into the chrysalis, then from the chrysalis, that is it forms a pupa. From the pupa, the adult butterfly emerges, and then it becomes a adult butterfly. So we have learned these 4 stages of the butterfly. So this is called as the life cycle of a butterfly, and even there is the name for that life cycle, that is called the metamorphosis, right? So there there are the lot of changes take a place in the life of a frog and the butterfly when they are young and when they become a adult. So on this basis, today we are going to learn one more poem, and the name of the poem is the Growing Up, in which the second poem is about the butterfly. So let's go through. Now let's see the second poem, The Butterfly. The fuzzy little caterpillar curled upon a leaf, made herself a chrysalis, and then fell asleep. While she was sleeping, she dreamed that she could fly, and later, when she woke up, she was a butterfly. So the fuzzy that means covered with a soft, fine hair. The fuzzy little caterpillar. Caterpillar was completely covered with a soft, fine hair, and that's why it is called as a fuzzy. Curled upon a leaf. Curled, that means it was seated comfortably in a comfortable position on a leaf और a lie down, यानी वो आराम से पत्तों के ऊपर क्या करता है, सोया हुआ रहता है कैटरपिलर, अदरवाइज कंफर्टेबल पोजीशन में बैठे हुए रहता है. Made herself a chrysalis. Now you can see a chrysalis, and then fell asleep, and then it used to sleep for 8 to 12 days. And while she was sleeping, she dreamed that she could fly. And when the chrysalis was sleeping that time, what she dreamed that she could fly, यानी वो उड़ सकती है. And later when she woke up, she was a butterfly. And जब भी वो उठी तभी क्या हो गया? She was a butterfly. यानी वो क्या बन गई थी? Butterfly बन गई थी. We have already learned the life cycle of butterfly, that egg, larva and the pupa, and then it becomes a adult butterfly. So these are the 4 stages. So here these things are mentioned as growing in the poem Growing Up. Growing up, that means when it started from the young one, they grow up into the adult. So when they were young, they look different, and when they grow up, they were completely different. We have already learned this in the EVS in the 4th standard. I hope that you understand this poem.